have been operating remote. All the financial people, the management, the asset management, they've been remote a year now and doing really, really good work. But where the producers are, the entrepreneurial people, the ones that are making deals, they miss it. I hear it every day from them. We want to come back. We want to be able to sit and talk and work together on deals and things like that. So uh, getting back together is going to be a major thing. It's people really, I think, have come to grips with the fact that they miss it and they need it.
Yeah. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to make a quick announcement. We're having a mentoring program start in the fall, and we're looking for individuals who are juniors or sophomores currently looking to participate in the mentoring program. So if anybody's interested, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. We'd love to have individuals who are interested in doing a mentor program in the fall with real estate companies. So there you go. Arden, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're at the top of the hour.
Yes.
I see the seats are full, and I can't wait to hear what Herb has to share with us today.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Well, welcome everyone. It's good to see everyone after a long month. I also have a couple announcements, just club related. First, we have fall 2021 officer applications open as of now. 5 of our officers, including myself, are graduating this semester. So if you're interested in filling those positions, we have developed an application, and let me put that in the chat right now. This is the link to apply, and just fill it out. And once you apply, we'll be reaching out to you to schedule an interview. And then those interviews will happen in April as well. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, the application link's in there. And I can't say enough good things about becoming an officer in the real estate club. It's the reason I'm sitting here in the Weitzman office right now. If you want to maximize your potential in the real estate program, I do highly recommend applying. These applications are due April 12th, which is exactly a month from now. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me after today's meeting. Again, just really highly recommend. And then next, our property tour with Weitzman is coming up on March 26th. We're doing it with Bob Young, who is the executive managing director of Weitzman. He's an amazing public speaker and a master of commercial real estate and networking. And we will be virtually walking through the Weitzman office that was newly renovated. And he'll show us kind of the structure of their firm, how it's all set up. And at the end, we will have a Q&A discussion over office assets. So bring your questions like you always do. And let me put the link to RSVP to that in the chat as well. So many links. But yeah, that's all the announcements I have for right now. Now I want to open it up to good news. I think y'all are used to this at this point. It's basically a safe place for y'all to brag about yourself, and we'd love to hear it. Again, it can be anything like an internship, a scholarship, any good experience. And if you can't think of anything, you could also bring up a news headline that caught your eye and you would like to discuss with us. So I'll leave it open to y'all, and if anyone wants to start us off. Anyone?
I recently got news that I'll be working in Houston this summer.
Really? With where?
With Stone Lake.
Oh, awesome. Do you think you're gonna want to go to Houston after graduation?
I want to stay in Dallas, but
okay.
It happens.
That's cool. I'm glad that they want to keep you on.
Yeah.
That's really good news.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Guttery here.
Good morning.
My good news isn't personal. It's on behalf of all the officers that I really like the new branding and background. The Herbert D. Weitzman Institute for Real Estate at the University of Texas at Dallas. Herb, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Had you seen this? This is new for all of us for this meeting. We're trying to make sure that the Institute is forefront, so everything we do is branded under the Weitzman Institute for Real Estate, facilitated by the Real Estate Club or hosted by the Real Estate Club, or something of that nature. But we really want to make sure that we bring the Institute to the forefront, and wanted to get your feedback on right over, I guess that'd be over Arden's right shoulder. You can see the new branding there. Wanted to see what you thought of it.
Can anyone see her or Mr. Weitzman right now? I can't see his face.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that might just be on my end then.
And I don't see it either.
Okay.
Well, Arden, you hear me? You hear my voice?
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't see you.
You don't see me. Victoria, they don't see me.
If you click on his name, right click, you are able
They
to
don't see me here.
the screen, and you should show up.
I mean, I think the fact you don't see me, you're lucky.
They probably can't scroll over. You can only see so many people on the screen at once.
See, there's 9 people. There's 9 people on the
So
screen. She says you've squeezed me out.
No, well, if they scroll over, sometimes they can see. How many people are on?
I think we have around 20, 22.
Herb can only see 9 people.
I see 9.
And I clicked on his little icon and I was able to see him. So if anyone wants to do that, do that.
And I think, Arden, sorry to interrupt, but I think we can spotlight him, right? If we click on his name on those 3 little dots and spotlight, he should stay on the screen for everybody at all times. Isn't that correct?
Did it work?
The connection is
what she said.
I don't know.
She's telling them to like pin you on the page. She was talking to the students. Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, I think I spotlighted him.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's great.
Everyone should be seeing him. I guess I'll share my good news, and my good news is related to my internship with Weitzman. I've just been having the best experience, and the environment in the office is so good for learning. And I think this is my 7th week here, and I've worked on projects for Mr. Weitzman himself. I've been working directly with their project leasing team a lot, just researching tenants that would be a good fit, and going out and touring their properties, and sitting in on impressive meetings. So I've really been loving it, and it's definitely been one of my highlights for me this semester.
That's so great to hear, Arden.
Yeah, it's a really great company to work for.
I think one of my great news, something actually I'm pretty excited for. I've been actually wanting to like join a group like this basically my whole university career. But recently I found a group of people who are actually really interested in real estate. I don't think they're actually in the real estate club, unfortunately. I've told them about it. But basically what we're trying to do now is trying to like establish our little investment fund to basically get together and buy some properties in Dallas and kind of like, go into like the property investment business and like, these type of like real estate through that. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. We're doing our own like analysis and like learning more about it. So yeah.
That is so cool. I didn't know about that, and definitely tell your friends to join the real estate club, but I'm sure Mr. Weitzman can attest that's the best thing you can do to enter the real estate industry. Does anyone else have anything they want to share? Again, it can also be something in the news that caught your eye. Because if not, we can go straight into our chapter 2 and 3 discussion. Last chance. Okay. So I want to know what y'all thought about chapter 3, or chapters 2 and 3. we got to see how Mr. Weitzman's career started and how the times are changing a lot for him during those times. So I'll leave it open to y'all. What did you think?
I had a comment.
I just wanted to say that I felt that it really resonated with me, because for the sole reason that I feel like we're all like young individuals, like trying to like get out there in the world and like build our careers. So
Arden,
Yeah.
Can we have everyone speak up, please?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we need everyone to speak up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Noted. Thank you.
Help me with this.
Okay.
Right here.
Sanchita, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that like I thought it was like a really like great like 2 chapters to read, because we're all just like young professionals trying to like find our place in the world, and that like how like Mr. Weitzman like encountered like failure on his like first attempt to like work for like the company that he thought was like the greatest. I feel like we've all encountered as well, like trying to find jobs and just encountering like failure. So I just wanted to ask him like how he like dealt with failure during his career.
That's a great question.
Can you repeat the question, Arden? Because it's cut out a lot. I don't know if the connection's bad or what.
Oh, I wanted to ask Mr. Weitzman like how he dealt with failure during his career.
She's asking how you dealt with failure during your career.
Well, okay, I'll. That first question, Arden, to start off just in the conversation with everybody. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Failure, I don't know that I really knew what failure really was until I got out of college, because when you get out of college and you're working in a job, you're striving to figure out how to be successful, and you know, where you're measured in grades at the university, you're really measured in many other different ways when you're out in business, and and that's one of the things I want to talk about, and I'll intertwine some of my discussions here with the fear of failure. And when I left college and I got into the business, which it's so different from what I had experienced in college. In other words, in studying finance and studying real estate, came out of the business school. And, I was there pretty much left on my own to bring in business. And so one of the questions that I had to ask was, how was I going to grow? What was my path of growth? Because as a broker, I was an independent contractor. Whether you're there and you're going to work on a salary, or whether you had the flexibility that I had to think about the options of what I would want to do, I really wasn't prepared to do anything other than to just wade into the middle of the lake and swim out. Because you've got to put yourself in the position of, okay, here's the challenge, and you've got to figure out how to make it to shore. And and sometimes, it's very, very difficult and very dark. So specifically, as a broker, where I was facing failure after failure in terms of deal closing. Well, what I lacked was the skills of interaction with people, was strategic thinking on my feet. I lacked market knowledge. I lacked a lot of things that I was failing in, and those were causing me to miss the deals and not close. However, I would, when there was something to be done or a question raised at a meeting, well, here's a prospect, here's something that was happening in the newspaper, who wants to follow up on it, who wants to take it on? I was the first one with my hand up. Well, what happens as a normal cycle is that once you learn your skills, and you really don't know your skills in business yet. So what I suggest is that you do everything that you have an opportunity to do. And before you know it, you're going to elevate yourself into more difficult deals, better transactions, more challenging transactions, and it's that way in every job. You don't want to take on a job where you're doing the same thing in 5 years. So what happens is your failure rate is acceptable as long as you are understanding it, thinking through what you did wrong, and not making it a second or a third time. Learn from those mistakes, and that's how you grow. Because if you're not reaching out and taking on the challenge, I don't think it's very difficult for someone to learn how to do it without getting in the middle of it and figuring it out. So a question that you need to ask yourself is, what's the reason that a company's going to hire me? What potential do I have that I think I can grow and help a company? Because I think that the first thing we have to think about is how we make a contribution to whoever we go with, and how do I help that company make a profit? That is the American way. That's capitalism. So those are questions that you might not have the answer to right now. So, and I don't know that you really have the ultimate answer, because you're going to end up growing so much and go down so many paths, because life is a winding road. It's not a straight road. You go to the right, and before you know it, something happens and you got to make adjustments, and you swing it back to the left. But what happens is, when you are in the business of dealing with things that are so important, that affect us, and that we really have skills that not everybody's the same. So my question is how good are you with your interpersonal skills? How well do you meet people? What's your passion about spending the extra time to learn your trade? I was at breakfast with one of the top guys with Chase Bank this morning early, and I was telling him, he asked me how things are going and what's happening. I said, I think for the past year, I put in 100-hour weeks working. I don't look at it as okay, something that's a drudgery. I look at it as keeping up with things, making it through the tough times, because retail's been through tough times. And I think our company has just done super, getting through this with everybody, coming in and really making a huge contribution and adapting. And so I looked at that, and I don't feel any different than if I'd have worked a 40-hour week. I just feel like I've grown a lot. But the plus thing is that other people, pick up that same habit. They're working hard, and they're all contributing because it's a team effort. And, I've always played sports, and I've always learned that I never was a loner. I was a team player. And so being on the team and earning a place on that team in sports talk is really, our goal. But learning about ourselves and our strengths aren't going to happen until you're there in the business and you find out that you've got this special passion for real estate, that you love every part of it, that it's not work, it's enjoyment because you're growing, it's knowledge. And as we go through the book here, in the different passages of my involvement with real estate and how I grew, it was all, based on great visionaries that I worked with and worked for, and I learned from them. See, so I think that what we're talking about here is the fear of failure, and I had plenty of them. But it's you give yourself the time, and it might be 5 minutes. Say, poor me. I lost that deal. It cost me $50,000. Cost me $100,000. I did a stupid thing. Just don't make that same mistake again. Realize realize what you did.
And I think you were the one that told me it's not failure if you're learning something, and that definitely stuck with me. And I think that's the whole message that you're trying to come across. And it's amazing that you're still learning things, even after decades in the industry. It's amazing. And I think JB Garza has a question, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's muted.
I think you're
sorry,
muted.
can you hear me now? I think it. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yep, hear you now.
Okay, sorry. I really enjoyed the book, and I noticed in the book you broke everything down in 10-year periods. You talked about a lot of trends emerging and leaving. And interestingly enough, I actually grew up in the house that Ross Perot bought when he started EDS a while ago. So I always heard about these, Dallas legends, forming the city. But I was wondering, what do you think are on the real estate side are the trends that are leaving from the 2010s and the trends that you see emerging in the new 2020s?
Well, first of all, I think your timing of getting into the business, graduating from college at this time, and a future in commercial real estate, whatever that category might be, I think you're very, very lucky. I think you're very lucky to have the supervision and the mentoring by Dr. Guttery and by Julie Lynch, and the whole business school at UTD. I think it's great because you're here and they're helping you guys with the intern program, and you're getting, it's kind of like the aroma theory. In deal making, if the deal it kind of runs under your nose and smells like a deal, then you start chasing. So you're here, dealing with companies and people, and you're gonna hear from a lot of smart people, little things, and you can take that into a major strategy. So from the standpoint of change, we're at a totally new platform, the way I look at it. And this is what my goal was, why I said I concentrated so much this 12-month period, because you can either spring your hands and say, oh boy, I'm a victim, I had nothing to do with this, or you can really study it, talk to the smartest people adapt as fast as you can adapt, which is what we've done, particularly with technology, and particularly with the mindset and a culture in the company. And you can come out of the cycle, it's like shot out of a rocket. Now, I think that the plateau that we're facing is that we have never had the spotlight on Texas like we've had. The only thing I kind of worry about a little bit is the power grid system, that corporations who might think about moving here kind of worried, do I put my people in that harm's way? But that's going to get fixed, not a problem, I don't think. The other is if they think that we're going to go a little bit like what California's gone, the way they've gone is so liberal, where we end up with so many homeless people, and it's growing here in Dallas, a huge number of homeless in Austin, and if I put my people in that environment there, when they can go to Florida or someplace else, and it'd be a different environment. But take those off the table. I think that we're going to fix those. Is that we're so lucky to be in Texas because of the natural assets we have here, and also two of the largest oil reserves. And of course, we have no idea how long we're going to rely on that, because I think technology is going to change so fast because of electric cars and different forms of fuel, that we will, that just underpins our city government and our money, and so much in taxes that come from gasoline sales and so forth and so on. I think that we're in a period of change, but the biggest thing, as a result of the pandemic, is that people want to come to Texas. And in migration, based on the number of people and the number of corporate moves, like right now, the Chamber has maybe 93 major companies on their list that they've talked to. It used to be one page, it used to be 24. Now it's 4 pages, is 93. Now, that really covers up a world of ills. When you've got people coming in and everyone has got to go buy furniture, everybody's got to buy food, everybody's got to gin this economy, and it makes it better for everyone, as compared to the fact that we as an individual in our specific business has to gin it. These people help move water uphill. And so, and that's a good thing. A lot of states do not have, population growth. And we've got all this land, and we've got these great major cities. 5 of them, 4 of them are in the top business communities. 3 are the largest in the country, out of the top 10. See, so there are jobs, and jobs, create so many. It's just a ripple effect, with spending. So it makes our economy work. So I think that from the standpoint of the opportunity going forward, there are major things that we've seen in retail, a change. For example, people are in the habit of eating out. People are eating, I don't go to a restaurant where that possibly doesn't have a patio. And so many people want that. Well, we're now putting patios in every shopping center with every restaurant who wants one. So the other is safety factors, and where people are going to be more, just more cognizant of the fact that, is the place, is it safe? Even, coming out of this, there's going to still be socially distancing. There's still going to be masks, people that are going to wear masks. And that's, there's a lot of parts of safety, dealing with, even whether our building here, in our office building, we remodeled it and we put hospital air in here, much better than normal air. And so it's better. So those are things that we're going to deal with in the retail sector. Was retail going away? No. But the biggest thing is technology. Are there going to be more virtual tours? I used to think you couldn't sell real estate, or lease real estate, unless you were face to face. We've made deals now on virtual tours, whether that it's better for homes, but where somebody's moving into a place, it's easier to see that as to a person to determine whether they can be successful without in a location for their business, without really studying the traffic, studying the visibility, studying the trade area, studying the co-tenants, and so forth. So the going forward from now, I think the pandemic has brought many things to the surface. It's actually it escalated the bankruptcy of some companies that were going down, that would have had just a slow death. It was a quicker death, and some of them totally went through a fast bankruptcy and got recapitalized and are cleaned up and don't have the debt load. Management's changed in them, hopefully for the better. And so the other thing is there's probably 100,000 retailers that have closed up, and maybe 30% of the restaurants are going to close up. However, they're going to be released. They're going to be new concepts, different thinking, different layouts, and different models, and that's what makes retail. I think it's going to create a whole new level of creative retailers selling different things, and we're excited about that. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, out at South Lake, we had a Cowboy store go out. We made a lease with a beautiful fitness equipment company that's got everything. It's doing great, and they have only 27 in the United States. They're out in South Lake. Wonderful. We had one of the Pier 1 spaces go out. It was a dying concept. We made a deal with a company called St. Bernard Sports. And St. Bernard's, sell a lot of skiing equipment. It attracts, the skiing crowd, but it all has a lot of other nice clothing for the same size space, 14,000 feet. But a new brand that is here in Dallas and Inwood Village. They've got a store in River Oaks. This, I think, is their third store. Well, that's great. It's really a new concept store that there's a total void out there. And so things like that are going to happen. And what do we do as a company, or what do our brokers do in terms of changing? And if they're smart, they have learned a lot with technology, and they have learned how to have better time discipline. They've learned how to work remote better and work with the company. So everybody has to make changes right now, but I'm very, very optimistic about the future.
That's
exciting. Does that kind of cover some of your? It's not an easy topic to hone in.
Yeah,
It's a lot of things.
I know there's a lot of changes, especially in retail too. And actually, I'm working on a couple brokering some adaptive reuse projects right now that are office to hotel, and probably I'm going to join the development partnership group later and get into renovating, and reusing, redeveloping other properties. And I think that the shopping mall sector is wide open, considering that there's a stiff discount. A lot of the keys are getting handed back to the lenders that have defaulted on some of their properties. So I'm just kind of interested in that space, because I think the opportunities in real estate are always what you can get at the cheapest and then return to normalized value. So.
Well, let me throw up a few red flags for you. Is that right now there's still some risk-averse, investors in retail. They still don't understand it, and in terms of, okay, how many stores are going to go broke? Is retail going to come back? The brick and mortar? Well, it's getting better, because digitally, there's a convergence between, the digital platform of e-commerce and brick and mortar. And so it's going to be a plus, but some of them don't know enough about that. And so they're risk averse, and it might be a little harder than you think about getting money into some of these projects. Now, for example, converting B malls or C malls that have gone down, you can buy them for a song. But I'm going to tell you this, it takes a lot of capital to turn it around and change it inside out, to tear buildings down and bring in family or bring in office, to deal with all the problems that are in the REA. And you think everybody would be in favor, every tenant or every anchor who would have any say-so would say, oh, you're going to do that. That's great. Well, they really don't. It's not a great working partnership. They talk a big game, but they have their hand out. And so you got to be careful not to get caught with a lack of control. If you're trying to move something forward and other people have a huge influence, like they can say no and hold you up, be careful. You've got to stay in control because you don't want a project to take too long and you'll find yourself in quicksand. You'll run out of money. You'll run out of time. So what I would look at is really study it hard on the front end. And if you have any third party that controls your destiny, I'd be very careful, like co-tenancy.
That's great advice.
Or anything like that. If somebody else goes out, it affects you and all your rents go down to half or go down to percentage rent. There's those causes that exist. So I'd be very careful. The other thing is I would deal in smaller projects right now where you are able to have a success based on your work and then move on to the next smaller project and have a success because of your work, all of which you control, and move on that way till we get into an area where the analyst and the retail investors are more confident about getting a return in retail. Then they're going to be pushing you. But right now, they're not pushing people. They're risk averse and they're standoff. It's hard to get them in. I just wanted to tell you that.
That's great advice. We have quite a few people in the queue to answer questions. So Sina, go ahead.
You're muted. She's
muted. I think
muted.
you're muted.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you now.
I'm muted.
I think you're muted again.
I'm so sorry. My laptop has such a lag running Teams that when I click it, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
Yes.
Perfect.
No, she's muted again.
Am I?
Now I hear you.
Okay, awesome. Mr. Weitzman, I want to go back a little bit to career advice. I think you said it at the beginning, fresh out of college, you had to learn a lot about interactions and strategically, quickly thinking on your feet. Now, a lot of what we learn in college is technical skills. How do I calculate, I don't know, the IRR of something? But obviously, a lot of people in real estate, and especially in the brokerage field, are people, right? So is there a way, or how would you say, what is a good way to improve those skills, those soft skills, and learn how to, well, I don't want to say sell better, but in a way, yeah, kind of sell yourself better, those soft skills required?
Well, I have asked, there's 4 things I think that somebody getting into real estate after you finish school, I think one would be, if you're in real estate, I would go take the CCIM courses. Okay, there, why I'm saying this is they're geared to the vertical structure of commercial real estate, and so I would take the CCM courses. There's some great courses in investment analysis and so forth that are going to move you very fast, and doing that while you're working. It's so much of commercial real estate. The actual part of real estate is learned OJT. So learning that while you're working, you're going to learn it so much faster and move your career along, so much faster. The other one is you don't have to become an appraiser, but to take the MAI courses, on your own time. You can do it online. You're going to again learn the vertical structure of commercial real estate, and you're the fact that you come out with a real estate major, you're gonna learn it so much faster, and then OJT, you're gonna put it into play. So you're gonna escalate your career, and I think it's imperative that you think this way, because it's about self-help. And now let's go to other things on the personal side. I there's kind of three things there. Some students come out of college, they don't write well. They don't compose letters well. Well, there's if that's needed, take a letter writing course online and improve on it, because it's really important to put nice letters together in business. The second thing is that interpersonal skills are important, and a lot of people here have gone to take a Dale Carnegie course, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and not only there's a lot of interaction with that, and you learn a lot. And the third thing is that, and I don't know if you've heard about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is groups of people in business that get together and they go through competitions internally. There might be a group of 10 and you meet once a month and you get to be great friends with these people. They're from all walks of life. And what I'm talking about is expanding your world with people as well as learn. So you have they might tell you, to make a speech, for selling something. You have to get in front of everybody. You got to be graded, and that's it's a little bit different than role playing. Where we do a lot of that here in the company, where a supervisor role plays with a younger person in a presentation that they're going to make. They do a role play and see and get coached on. Yes, you did good here, but you need to be more focused here. Things like that. So those are some things that if you go take those on your own, and spend the time, you will definitely move your career early part of your career ahead very, very fast.
Well, thank you so much. I think you might have just given away your secret.
Yeah, super good advice.
I did them all.
Awesome.
And I'm surprised. I make this comment to a few other people, and before I know it, they've upgraded on their Toastmasters, and they're going to a Toastmasters. They've changed clubs, and they're now going to a Toastmasters group with trial lawyers. Trial lawyers go to Toastmasters, and they're there practicing how they speak to the jury.
Oh my gosh.
So I find out that they've taken the initiative and have gone, and they're moved to a Toastmasters group that's over at the Below Mansion, where the lawyers meet. And I think that's it's just taking your own initiative. You're going to get better faster.
Right.
Sound quick.
What's that?
Christian's going to fix your sound. Hold on just one moment.
They're fixing some sound.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead?
Are you hearing me okay?
I'm hearing you okay, yeah.
Okay, we're going to fix it so that
We
you
can hear
All
you.
right, they're fixing it so I hear better. Okay. Y'all are breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Herb, while you're getting your sound worked on, we did just renew our relationship and partnership with CCIM. So as a graduating MBA student who's partnering, who's concentrating in real estate, 4 of your graduate courses will be, can count towards the CCIM. You'll be approved for 4 of the courses. And for undergraduate, you've already got approved for passing 1 of the courses with your concentration in real estate. So we did just renew our partnership with CCIM, and students who graduate with a concentration in real estate will get credit towards their designated classes.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, I tell you, you guys are with the coaching you're getting, you're going to be the smartest real estate students coming out of any college in Texas.
That's what we like to hear. Next is Amlan. I think he has a question for you.
All right, so throughout your career, you've worked in multiple positions like broker, developer, and leasing agent, and so on, like you've mentioned in the book. So my question is, are there any jobs that you wish you would have done just for the experience that you haven't?
I thought when before I got into real estate, I thought, and I actually got, took the job, I thought about, well, should I go to law school? Because everything is legal. I mean, so much, you have to know a lot of legal, and also you have to know a lot of accounting and financial numbers. So I went over and visited with a professor over at SMU, and he said, you know, if you're going to go into commercial real estate and you are going to be, you're going to learn through osmosis about what you need for commercial real estate through lawyers you work with on closing transactions, and he was right. So I went right into real estate, and of course now we have 2 lawyers and 2 paralegals on staff full time. We've had them for years, and we couldn't have grown the company. We couldn't be as efficient as we are without them here. They're wonderful. So I think that the best thing ever that happened to me was to get in the brokerage business, because the brokerage business, I was able to do everything. I was able to work on land, and I was able to work on income properties. I was able to do tenant rep and represent the retail chains expanding. I was able to do industrial. I was able to do income properties, and I was able to do development. And by being there and being an independent contractor, I found out that I was able to, through my knowledge as I did more and more retail leasing, I was aware, because I always wanted to own real estate, and each one of you, I want to just encourage you to have that first and foremost as a goal, to be an entrepreneur and to own real estate. And here's the thing: there's going to, you know, we put $7 trillion in this economy already, you know, in the pandemic, and now two more trillions going in. We're just sloshing around with money out there, helping people. That's going to be spent. Everybody's going to spend it. So you're going to see the economy have a hyper jump. It might be slow, it might be fast, but it's going to last, you know, for a couple years. And that money is spent in the economy. And so a lot of pressure puts inflationary pressures on the economy. And so real estate is one of the best places to be. Not only now, but then you take on all the growth that's going to go on in Texas for the next 25 years. I mean, the seeds are planted, you know, and the rows are going to be hoed every year, and so it's a great place to be. So that's where I come from, and so that's why we're playing such an aggressive game, you know, right now when other people are pessimistic or contracting. So from the give me the rest of that question there, that, you know, you were
Yeah, for sure.
You're asking me which area, you know, the question, was it about which area do you end up in or pick, or what was that question again?
I was asking, so out of all the positions you've worked in within real estate, are there any that you haven't worked in that you wish you would have, so you would have had more experience?
I did them all. I did industrial. I did some multifamily. Did land.
I think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. This is just kind of like bouncing off that point. In your book, you were talking about how back then you kind of did everything. You're more like brokerage was more generalized, and now it's kind of more specialized. And I was wondering, how does someone go about making the initial decision on where to specialize in brokerage? And also, what advice would you give to people that are looking to switch specialties in brokerage?
Well, I think that there's 2 things to the parts of the question. One is positions that you took, and you became the person responsible for leading, you know, and your goal, your leadership goals. The other is your production goals. I just was interested in everything, so I started out as a general broker. I'm gonna start with the brokerage business side first, because there's 2 sides to this. Do the brokerage side, and I want to encourage you to get with a company that's forward thinking. Get with a company that is growing. You are interviewing, and it's your future. So you have some hard questions to ask because you got to make the right decision. Otherwise, you're going to lose a year or 2 or 3. Not necessarily, but you might miss it on the coaching side. You know, you're going to be asking a lot of questions yourself, and there's really, in real estate, there's no ceilings and no fences. If you're a broker, you can go work, 100 hours, and you can catch everybody. You can put a year and a half of work into every year that your competition is working, if you want to. It only means you're going to grow faster if you do it right, and you develop your proper strategies. So from the standpoint of where you are, I would just say get with the right company, and it doesn't make any difference where you are for the first year. You're going to ask a lot of questions. You're gonna see where your passions are. Well, I realized that through everything, everything helped me in one area or the other as I did industrial. And I mean, I did enough industrial to be president of the Society of Minister Realtors here, and to qualify, and then become head of the organization. That's not where I ended up. I ended up in retail, and the reason there for commercial was that in retail you don't do one deal. You take one company and you do 50, or you do 75. And so, with Kentucky Fried Chicken, which was an early company, I told y'all I met the colonel. I took him in my car, but I ended up making 120 deals for them. And
Wow.
and then through that research, I became the go-to guy because they said, who put KFCs in when somebody new comes to the market? That business automatically came to me. So I did the Jack in the Boxes. I did early round of Dunkin' Donuts that came here and went broke because everybody likes flaky donuts and not cakey donuts. That's just the way it was. Now
Right.
they got flaky donuts too, but the first round it was just cake. So you one step led to another, and that was the reason why I went into retail. Second, I knew that if I controlled the tenants and I knew where they were going, I was going to take them first to help them, but I was going to do the research and find it. Pushed me. There was a carrot there that I was going to make a big commission, but at the same time, I was going to find a property in that area to buy and put together a partnership with some people if I couldn't handle it myself. See, so all these ideas came together, and they all work together if you think through the strategy of how to do it.
Mm-hmm. I think,
yeah.
I love what you said, that it doesn't matter where you are the first year. It just matters what your strategy is and what your end goals are. Because I think a lot of people my age put a lot of pressure on themselves to make the right decision right out of college, of what to do, like, what am I going to do? And I'm going to stick with it. So definitely takes pressure off, and yeah, really good advice. Joseph, I think you have a question. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so the first question you answered for us was about failure, and I kind of want to go in the opposite direction. And I imagine that after failing at one thing and then failing at the next and the next and the next, once you finally close a deal or finish a new development, you must feel like you're on top of the world. So what I'm wondering is, how have you been able to yourself build upon these smaller victories, and how we might be able to take advantage of our own small victories?
Well, you can't be single focused. It's just like in government right now. I mean, I hear people say, with the stimulus, oh, it was wonderful what happened. Oh, I said, how can you look at that and say that? And this is my personal philosophy, because you can't be single focused and say, oh, that's just good for me. We have a lot of people out there hungry, and a lot of things need to be fixed, and every one of us have to pitch in. And so, with with you know, the example you said, oh, you know, you close a deal, you feel on top of the world, you know, you do that for about 5 minutes because the competition is so great, and you're there thinking about, well, oh man, where's my next business going to come from? What you do is you learn, you expand your bandwidth, you learn how to manage time, and you don't handle one deal at a time. You handle 20 or 30. And every day you're moving a deal along, you're overcoming the obstacles of a transaction. Your priorities on each deal changes every day. So every night you have to set your priority, what you're going to be sure you get through the next day to move those top 5 deals toward closing. And it shifts every day. And so that's the basis of a deal economy, and closing deals where it's not where you're on the top of the world one day when you make a deal, and you're 2 days later you're depressed because you don't know where your next deal is going to come from. You will go through that cycle, but what you have to learn is how to treat the deal economy where it is just steady. There's deals closing all the time. There are more deals that are needing your attention that you can get to. So how do you do it? If you are a great marketer, and then people want you to serve them, you expand your bandwidth. You do it with more efficiency, and you put more time in the business. Do you leave at 5 o'clock? No, you don't. You stay to 7, you know, to build your career early on, and maybe you do your research, you know, after you get a bite, and then you do it till 10 o'clock. You have to figure that out if you're going to be entrepreneurial. But let me tell you what, it's unbelievable, the results, if you do it right. I mean, I'm not that smart, you know. I just know how to do what I'm telling you, and I do it pretty well. And so that's what it's up to the individual. You know, have you ever heard of, okay, you know, inside my skin is me, outside my skin is everything else. So I have to get centered, you know, and basically the exterior influences, I have to make a choice every day. What's the priorities? What are the second and third priorities? You know, I've got to be thinking clearly about how I handle everything, you know, and communication is important. I've got to get back to people to be sure they're informed. See, so these are things that you haven't been tested yet on. It's not in the book. It's in real life of the deal.
Yeah, definitely.
You follow me?
Mhm.
This is the exciting thing about the real estate business. If you find that you've got those abilities, you know, that you like people, and you like to turn no's into yeses, and you like to serve customers and make, you know, if you generate the positive things, like I love to help customers, I love to help a family start off a business and grow them to 10 stores, because I know that that family is helping the economy. That family, you know, is going to have a better life. They're going to go to better colleges. They're going to have a better car. They're going to have a better house. They're going to take better vacations. I've been a part of their life. I love
Right.
to see, and these are things that customer comes first in business always. Well, if you integrate them into your MO every day, it just comes naturally. You're doing these things naturally that are positive, that people like, and they want to do business with you.
And that's really fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fulfilling.
And next is Jonathan. You have a question.
Good afternoon. This is Jonathan here. I had a question regarding suburbs and the shift away from downtown centers, especially around this time.
Uh-huh.
So you mentioned that around in the 70s, Plano, like suburbs like Plano, Farmers Branch were exploding.
Mhm.
And I just want to ask if, like, what you see in the future. So what I see a lot right now, especially, is retail and residential areas such as like Legacy West or the Domain in Austin are super popular. In the same vein, it seems like suburban housing is also exploding. So I just want to ask if you like what your opinions were on that, and if you see more developments like that popping up, like maybe even further away from the Dallas core, or if there's just going to be more suburban housing.
Okay, hit on a great topic. Great topic. I've spent a lot of time this past 8-9 months dealing with all the engineering companies. I sit down with them, we use them, we're a good customer of them, they share information with us. They're involved in tens and tens of thousands of new residential subdivisions, in platting the lots and developing the plan for the development of the lots that you haven't even read about in the newspaper. Now, that's part of this growth, this new plateau of growth. It's going to be unbelievable, and particularly in the suburbs. It's in Houston, it's in Austin with all the corporate moves, Tesla and Apple and Oracle and on with the thousands and thousands of people that are going there. House sitting on the market maximum for 3 weeks supply, and same here right now because of this movement. This is happening right now. So from the urban centers like Domain, absolutely, in Austin. Another one is going to be out there by Apple and Robson Ranch. Here, Legacy. Yes, there's going to be more, because the city's going to get too big. There's going to be more urban centers. This Legacy was just a phenomenon. How it all came together with several, the big corporations with Chase out there and Toyota and all these. Those are major things. I don't know if they're going to be quite that big, but it certainly could be. But yes, there will be a few more, not too many. It has to be the right generational location. That was just perfect out there on the toll road. But from standpoint of the movement now, through the pandemic is causing a big move out of the young couples to say we want to buy a house, we want to go in the suburbs. We don't want to be locked in an apartment downtown, and interest rates are 3.25%. So cheap. So it's a perfect time for people to buy homes, and then when you see this massive influx of people coming to Texas, with jobs are just moving here for one reason or the other. They think if they're coming from some of these other areas, our prices look so cheap. They think it's a bargain. Now prices in Austin and Dallas are going up very fast. Prices of land are going up very fast. So that's reality. So all these things are happening right now. I spend time every day dealing with these issues. I've got on a yellow pad of about 7 pages of notes about things that are happening. Talk in a meeting with one of the engineering companies. We are out there with these subdivisions right now, making deals for the future. We're there doing JVs. We've done now, I think eight are signed, and there's probably, a couple more that are going to be signed future that we're going to develop in these future subdivisions. Wow. And you don't even know about this yet. What's going on because they haven't announced them.
Yeah. I think we have about 10 minutes left, so we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions left. And next is Dr. Guttery. I saw you have your hand up.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Well, I guess good afternoon now.
Good afternoon.
Right.
As always, thanks so much for doing this for the students. For the audience, I want y'all to know that Herb and I have a mutual friend, and he told me that this is a quote, Herb. Herb may not be the smartest guy in the room, but he'll outwork everybody in the room. And I thought that was a real compliment. That was Ray Hemming, by the way.
Oh, gosh, well.
So Herb, I got a specific question. I'm going to interject an opinion. So if you would think about Vista Ridge Mall in Louisville, as you know, a few years ago, an investor out of Odessa bought that mall for a song, I think around 16 million, not including the 4 major anchor pads. And he had a concept, Music City Mall in Odessa. And I think he tried to replicate it here. And it just seems to me to be an abysmal failure. If you were to take over Vista Ridge Mall, now called Music City Mall, what would you do?
That's a typical failed mall. You know, the department stores are leaving, and you've got a structure there in 2-story department stores. They're drug on the market. Nobody wants them, and they're hard to convert and expensive to convert, and there's not many users for them. So that site probably would be one that would be demolished, like Big Town got demolished, and Valley View is eventually getting demolished, and Prestonwood was totally demolished. I think it's got to be demolished. You know, we've had experience in selling some malls, B malls, but we also ended up with one that we're a partner in, and it's a very difficult business right now. It's a difficult business. You don't know whether to tear down buildings and go build, let's say, apartments as a part of the mall or office buildings. It takes lots and lots of capital. Or do you go and retrofit the buildings if they're retrofittable? My position is it's right now, it's better to go. If you can retrofit the existing buildings, you go do that. And it's very difficult to do that. I mean, you have to have a special corner, a growth in the community. You have to have everything good for other people to come into a mall, and they're not flocking to any retailer right now. You know, and we're going through a complete repositioning of tenants. You know, about 60, 65 major companies have gone bankrupt. So there's from small to large, you know, from the Justices of the world and Rue 21s of the world, you know, and Lofts of the world, to the big ones like Neiman's and Penny's and so forth. So it's gone from A to Z, and you really have to, it's very complicated, Randy. There are REA agreements with restrictions, and you have to get approvals, and it's a very difficult process right now. So unless you're picking these things up for a song, that I think there was Vista Ridge sold for 17 million, and I think they overpaid. Now, if it's scraped, the land's certainly worth that or more. But can you scrape it? Because you got leases on some that continue on, just like out here at Valley View, everything's been cleared, but AMC's sitting there in the middle of where the mall was because they got a lease. You know, so it messes you up. You know, and in Valley View, there's different pieces were sold off. So the front corner was owned by Sears. The other corner was owned by Macy's. Well, Valley View Mall only has 200 foot of frontage on LBJ Freeway. So how do you go create a master plan unless you get everybody on board? Difficult. It's just difficult. So you know, from the standpoint of Vista Ridge, it's gone, and it probably eventually you're going to see. We operate the southeast corner with the power center. We manage that for a third party. Unfortunately, we've leased it up pretty much, but I think to go tackle Vista Ridge, boy, these guys have got the work cut out for them. What they're going to do, it's not as a music center, it's not working.
So going way outside the box, have you seen a municipality or an independent school district buy a mall?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. there's A. Harris Oak Cliff. It was sold. It was a mall down Oak Cliff, and it was bought. It was turned into a trade school, city. Yeah, that's a good use. That's a good use for it. Redbird right now is in the process of, transitioning, and it's all the department stores are leaving, and it's well located. City's got has put a lot of money into it with Peter Brodsky, who bought it, and it's still just struggling. But call center went in. Maybe UT Southwest is going to take some space out there, but it's not a mall. It's just how do we use the existing buildings to serve the community out there, and they're finding some alternative uses. I wouldn't want to touch it personally as a private investment. Stay away from it. It's quicksand.
Thank you,
Good to
Herb.
know. Good to know. All right, in our last 5 minutes, we're going to take one more question, and Lorenzo, go ahead.
Cool. So thanks. So I was kind of going off of those malls as well because I have been around several of them. Grapevine Mills became conglomerated with the Simon, I believe, the Simon Malls thing, as well as I live in Irving, so been seeing like some of the different, it's Irving and Town East kind of classified. They're still standing from the 70s, but they've kind of been classified as those kind of less affluent malls, like they're a bit more classified as ghetto. So my question with those is, you think probably eventually those will get demolished, sort of like with the Vista Ridge coming into Music City, and as well as how would you say the best way is for different malls to sort of keep up with, all of the kind of like the changing locations, like where people are considered more desirable, because I know for malls especially it's a little bit more difficult because all the good ones, quote unquote good ones like Legacy or North Park, they still seem to be going strong, whereas all these other ones are kind of just going downhill further, at least from what I've seen.
Well, you're correct, and those two are the better malls. The other ones are suffering. The one, what you don't see when we were partners with Chase, and we bought them out of the mall in Denton, Gold Triangle Mall. Before we did that, we looked all over the state to find where we could go look where anybody had renovated a mall. Well, the only one we found was down in Corpus Christi, and I knew it. And we flew down there, looked at it, did a great job. Covers a tremendous area. It's a great location, and there's no competition. So what's happened in Dallas is it were 26 malls. There's 13, and the two you mentioned are the two successful ones. We're up there at Denton, and there were extenuating circumstances about that, and $80 million has been put into it, and it's redone on the outside, redone on the inside, and Denton's growing, and it's at a strategic location on 35. It's got everything going for it, and it's hard. So I wouldn't encourage you to spend any time on malls. I mean, I wouldn't even, we don't even take them on to lease it. So I would not encourage you to do that. That's the wrong place for you to spend your time. And where you need to spend your time is you're driving down the street coming to school or going home or going shopping or coming home. Look at what's on the street that you're passing by. Don't have a wreck, but look at what you're driving by, and look at the real estate. That's what you want to own, and that's where you want to start out. Because if you make a mistake, and you're going to make plenty of mistakes, you want to make it on something small, not something big. You want to improve your successes in working small deals so that you minimize, failures when you're doing bigger deals. So look at the freestanding restaurants, look at the freestanding buildings, look at the small strips, and then, understand what's going. Those are very prolific, and my parents, had a little tiny dry goods store in the inner city of Dallas for 47 years and made a living. So families make a living, and they didn't have any parking. People walked to the store. So you spot, that's a pretty safe investment. Maybe 2 go broke or 3 go broke, but there's going to be one that makes a success out of that, whatever it might be. So focus there.
I think one of my main takeaways from today's meeting is your investment advice. I think students who want to invest right out of college got a lot of good insight and a lot of good insight on starting their career. Really great advice. Again, thank you so much for your time as always. I look forward to these meetings every month. So do you want to add anything else before we close?
No, I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah, we really did.
I had a lot of good questions, about everything. So I think we're going to go we covered, this was 2 and 3, and that just talked about stuff. And then we go over to, the chapter 3, I think. Then we covered that was just things about change. And the emphasis here is that change are changing here. They're changing fast. You got to do enough research to understand where the change is going to take place. So that's where you work. If you're an analyst, you got to do a lot of your own driving to keep up with things. But if you're a broker, you're out there every day. You're a part. Everything that's changing and happening. You have time to go explore it, understand it, learn about it. And that's where the long-term future is knowledge. Knowledge of the city and how it's changing, it changes values. And so that's what I love about it. And you just have to find where your passion is.
Absolutely. So our next meeting is in April. It's April 2nd at the same time as usual. And we'll be covering chapters 4 and 5 in that meeting. So definitely read those chapters and come with your questions as usual. And again, I will see you at the property tour on March 26th. And again, the link in to apply for officer positions is in the chat. Well, just really thank y'all, everyone, for showing up, and have a great weekend.
Arden, thank you for doing such a good job.
Thank you.
See you, and you're here in the office, so
I'll come by right now.
Julie, thank you. Randy, thank you. And, we look forward to, maybe we're going to get into this, where we're going to get into some real problems. We're getting into one of the big cycles, I think, in the next chapter.
Right.
Where you either sink or swim, so we'll be talking about that.
I'm excited.
Thank you a lot. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you all. Y'all have a
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks. I like these people.